Hey, welcome back everybody. I know I haven't done a garden tour in a few months. There really wasn't a lot going on, not a lot of change. Just added a few plants here and there. But this will be the last quick walkthrough, hopefully quick walkthrough of the season. And well, the reason I'm doing this is because I still have a lot of plants that are blooming, and it's November the 29th. We are expecting a freeze tonight, 31 degrees, and then the next, I think, 3 nights it's going to be 32, 33. So a lot of my stuff will freeze and die off. And wanted to show you how the garden is looking on these last few days of November. Over here in the raised garden area, I still have lots of things blooming. And this bed I've cleaned out. Still have a few little plants, seedlings trying to take off in here. I've actually got a watermelon growing. It's seeded itself right here. This is a new little area. I planted up a bunch of daylilies. It's the orange daylilies, and I moved them out of a shaded area so that because they really don't bloom well over where they were. And much to my surprise, about 6 weeks ago, this watermelon plant started growing. And my husband, we use this as a compost. My husband, we throw out all kinds of things, and he threw his watermelon out there, and I guess it seeded right here. It's pretty good size too. I don't know if it's going to make it through this freeze though. Not long enough to actually ripen. I'm not a watermelon person, he is. So I'm not going to be heartbroken if it dies. And my Mahogany Splendor, this one that was huge, that's all that's left of it. But I did put a lot of cuttings into the soil, and there's about 4 plants in here, and it's been blooming. It's covered in buds, blooming really pretty. I have one in the backyard that is about 16 feet wide by 7 feet tall. I'll show you that as well. And these all these Cleome, they came up from seed, from the first part of the season's blooms. A whole bed of them. And sadly, my Atlas Blue Cedar, the top of it started dying back. So I dug it out of the ground, and I had to cut it down to here. And it seems like this portion of it's alive. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It's been in this area for, I don't know, probably a month or so. And I'm gonna find something else to put in the spot that I had it in. This is the first year that this camellia has bloomed, put on any blooms. I've had it over here for about 3 years, maybe 2 years. I don't recall the specific name of that one. I think it's August Perfection, or Autumn Perfection maybe. I don't think it's August. I think it's Autumn Perfection. And all of these plants will probably die back with the freeze, but they come back every year. I'm not so sure about the coleus. I don't know if they'll come back, but I did take cuttings. I took cuttings off of every coleus that I had so that I could start those off for next season. This is a cute little garden creation I found. Well, I made this from scratch, but I found the idea on pictures. I was scrolling through garden ideas. And so I bought these little cups. They were $1 each from Dollar General. There's, I don't know, maybe 10 or so there. I glued those together with some E6000 glue. Found this pretty little plate at Marshall's. And then I found this cup at Marshall's as well. And it's just a cute little thing with some, well, I just put water in it. I don't think birdseed would be a good idea with this. With the rain, it would just get soggy and mushy. But I just thought it was a pretty little spot in front of my secret garden door. And the chair over there, it matches. There's the same color tone. I am still waiting to buy some rock to put out here in this area. I did plant 3 Summer Crush hydrangeas, and they're doing pretty good. And I've got the flagstone laid out here. These little brick pavers are just to hold the paper down as the grass is dying off. And my cat has gotten up underneath some of the pieces a few times, and I've had to put it back into place. My yellow hibiscus is blooming, and of course it's going to probably lose all of these buds tonight. Still a lot of color out here for the second to last day before December. I did pull all of the Mexican petunia out. I had that whole back wall behind this was Mexican petunia. There are a couple little stragglers that are trying to come back because I'm sure I didn't get every single root out of the ground. But it never bloomed. I had it back here for probably 3 years, going on 4 years, and they never bloomed one time. And you can see it's not getting very much sun. The sun is actually starting to go down, and it doesn't get enough sun there. So a lot of things don't do good right there. I need more shade plants in there, and those are sun-loving flowers, and they are they already put blooms on a week after I put them in the sun. There's a bird of paradise. I'm probably going to dig this up if I can remember and put that in a container so that the freeze doesn't get it. In my rose garden, not a single bloom at the moment. I've cut these down pretty good throughout this whole year. I'm hoping next year they do better. This is a Brazilian button bush. I think that's what it's called, Brazilian button. It's doing really well out here. It's actually taking over this rose bush right here. And I don't know much about this kind of plant. I bought this early spring at a local nursery. It was labeled verbena, and I knew it wasn't a verbena because it didn't look anything like a verbena. But it's doing really well. It's always has these blooms on it. It's always covered in blooms. I'm hoping it doesn't die back. I'm hoping it survives. I haven't looked it up to see if it can handle freezes. But I'm not going to worry about taking cuttings or trying to propagate it. See, I planted some. These are emerald green arborvitaes. I've got one on each side flanking this walkway. Those were in my woodland garden, and they weren't getting enough sun or moisture. So hopefully out here they will do much better. I think it will look pretty when they grow up and flank the walkway. And it looks like all of my caladiums and pretty much died back for the season. The coleus are still looking beautiful. I did take cuttings from those as well. I've got paper whites coming up. And this front of this bed has changed a little bit. I moved these, are the red hot pokers, Kniphofia. They were over there crowding in between these two, the rose and the arborvitae. So I moved them over here. And I also had to replace, I pulled out all of the gars. I had 4 gar back here that were dying, they actually were dead. So I redid the soil in here, added probably about 4 inches of soil, 4 inches in height of soil. And because it would get waterlogged right there really bad from when this area floods. And then I put 3 more gars back there, Gara. My autumn blaze maples are in color. We had 2 fall colorings. It seems like it was the end of September. No, sorry, it was the end of October. Half of the leaves turned red, and half of the leaves were still green, and then they dropped a couple of weeks later, and then we had a few weeks of just green leaves again, and then woke up one morning and they were red. So this is my fall obsession right here, is this driveway. I can't wait till these trees are mature. This self-seeded, or a bird brought it in, I'm not quite sure. This white cleome. And this, I think it's called sherbet, rainbow sherbet celosia. And here's the Mexican petunias these are the ones I pulled out of the woodland garden, and they have a couple of blooms on them right now. Running out of ideas of where to put certain things, and I thought, well, I'm gonna stick those at the edge of the driveway where they're out of the way of cars backing in, pulling in and out of this area. They seem to be doing well. I think I'm going to pull these pink mully grasses out that are flanking this Japanese cedar, because this summer they were completely smothering it with its needles and then the plumes that came out. So I think I'm probably going to move those and possibly put them back behind that area. I have a new area marked out that I'm going to put some paper layer and put some pine straw mulch over it, just because the hibiscus that I planted there was taking over the yard. This bed's looking pretty good right now. I'm going to lose those probably tonight. My agapanthus will probably freeze back. I'm not quite sure about these. I can't remember what the name of these are. But I don't think that they're frost hardy at all. I have a new rose back here on this trellis. I think it's called Tangerine or something. Tangerine Skies. Really pretty. It's got lots of new buds on it. I should have picked up another one. I wish I had gotten another one for this trellis. I may move that one. This white flame salvia gets really big. Well, you can see it's about 3 feet tall. And so I can't really plant anything in front of this trellis to grow up it, because obviously it's not going to get enough light to grow. So I think I'm going to move this one and put it over on the other side of this one over here. And yep, that's the cranberry hibiscus, the mahogany splendor. It's absolutely massive. I planted that in the spring from a cutting that like 6 inches. It was like a 6-inch cutting, and it has taken over this whole area. And I think the reason that it is so wide and spread out is because I did have to top it. It was falling over and splitting. It was so big and heavy, so I topped it, and it's just kind of branching out. And this is the area that I've spray painted that I'm going to kill the grass with some paper mulch and pine straw. And I'm probably going to put those 2 pink mully grasses out here. I'll flank that tree. If that, this silver maple, and it's been struggling. It's lost its leaves twice this year due to, I think it was a brown spot or a brown fungus. And I sprayed it. Last year it had scale real bad, and I killed the scale, but it started dropping its leaves twice this year. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be a permanent fixture right there. If not, I may not put another tree back there. But let's see. This is covered in buds and blooms, and I don't think that it's gonna make it. I really don't think it's gonna make 4 nights of freezing weather. And I haven't cut back my milkweed yet, tropical milkweed. I did cut it back, actually. That's why it's bushy and short. I cut it back, but it all sprouted back up. And I'm probably going to go ahead and cut it back after this freeze that we get this weekend. My Mexican Tithonia, Mexican sunflower is looking really pretty. That's just one seed that planted and grew all that. And then this is my honey apricot flavorette honey apricot rose. I'm going to probably move this out of this spot where it's at right now. It is just too close to this Japanese Sangu Kaku coral bark. It's too close to it. It was branching all the way into it. I'm going to pull it out and put it over here in this area. I'm going to do a future rose garden right here in this spot. And I'll probably put that over here and get that started. This rose is Melody Perfume. I'm probably going to move it over a little closer to the edge because it gets into this Rose of Sharon. I've also put this flagstone pathway through here. And I'm in the process of adding pine straw. I need to go get some more pine straw. I ran out. You can see in the areas where the older pine straw is. I just haven't had a chance to. I can only fit so many bags in my Camaro. So I do what I can when I can. My patio is looking pretty bare. I took all of my plants that cannot handle freezing weather, put them all in my garage. All right, we are here in my garage. Do not look at all of the hunting equipment and the garbage laying around. This is probably the time of the year that my husband loves and hates because he's hunting, and I also put all of my plants that can't handle freezing temperatures in the garage because I do not have a greenhouse. One day maybe he'll build me one. I've got them everywhere, hanging. Some of these will go in the house closer to like maybe the end of December. I'll put them on a plant stand. But as far as like these are all my coleus cuttings and a couple of cranberry hibiscus. And those I cut not too long ago. Maybe, I don't know, 4 weeks ago or so. They've rooted in. But a lot of my plants and my Thanksgiving, I think this one's Thanksgiving cactus. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving. It's blooming. This was out on my back patio. All of these plants were on my back patio. They do so good. They they do really well outside in the summer because of our high humidity. So this one, this money plant, peperomia, I propagated several cuttings off of it because it got really long. They're in my kitchen on my table. There are some of the things I had out in the garden that were in containers. This is a tropical hibiscus that was at my late mother-in-law's place, and I've had that for 2 years now. I bring that in just because I don't want to lose it. It was hers. And my bird of paradise, it's really, really tall. I don't know for sure if it would survive in a container below 32 degrees, so it came in. And this is my Aussie Queen hibiscus that I pulled out. It was in the front walkway. And stuck that in a container as well. It's really massive. I'm probably going to have to cut some of this back so I don't lose any of the branches because I did cut some of the root system off trying to put it in that container. And my succulents are down here in this window. I can't bring everything in my spare bedroom. I don't have room for all of this. This is a lemon cypress that I bought not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. Put it in a little container. This was placed in my front walkway where my Atlas Blue Cedar was. It was in the container. I just stuck it in that spot just to fill in the area until I figure out what I want. But I don't know if that will survive below freezing temperatures in a small container, so it's in the garage. And some of these things I'll stick back out after the freeze is over. But yep, here we are with my stuff taking over the garage. This area right here is new as well. What is that? That's a dead frog. How lovely. I have a ginger kitty. He loves to kill creatures and just leave them for me to find. Isn't that fun? Anyway, these are just a little 12 by 12 inch pavers. They were I had a bunch of red ones. I had like 50 red ones. I pulled them out of the raised bed area. It was looking too cluttered, so I pulled them out, stacked them up for a while, and had the splendid idea of making a kind of a floor for this patio table, and spray painted them. I've got about three different colors of spray paint. I just scattered them around and tried to make it look as natural as I possibly could. I didn't want to spend a ton of money on pavers for this area, so I used what I had. I'm not a cheapskate, but if I can save money, I will. And I think it looks pretty good. So my husband and I were measuring this area yesterday. He's going to build a pavilion for us in this area. Probably about 16 by 18 foot. So it's going to mostly cover this section on this side, all the way back. He's pretty handy. He built that barn back there. So we're going to put a pavilion out here. Hopefully, maybe this spring he'll get to it. I'm not quite sure when he's going to start that project. Kind of excited about it though. Let's walk over this way. This bed's looking pretty good. Wasn't sure if my veitchii, I have trouble with that word, gardenias were going to survive the two in the back, but they did, and they're looking really good. Another cranberry hibiscus that I stuck in the ground right here because I like to do a lot of cuttings and then I don't know where to put them. There's another one right there. And it's collapsing itself because it got really heavy. But that will come out very soon. And this is my shishi white camellia. So pretty, it's in bloom right now. Gorgeous, I love this. All kinds of little buds with pink on it. So pretty. Most of the things in here are perennials. Everything in here, these will die back. These are agapanthus, they'll die back, but they'll come back in the spring. Along with my grasses, they'll come back. I do have some things that are evergreen. Not very many. I believe the Obsession Nandinas, I think that those are evergreens. And this is an evergreen. Struggling to remember the exact name of this one at the moment. I'll put the name on the screen. And then these are Cerise Charm, Loropetalums, and I think they maintain their leaves through most of the winter as well. At least for us anyway. I pulled out the Bobo hydrangea I had right there because it just died back. This one was dying back as well. I don't know if that one's going to come back in the spring. I probably won't put another Bobo in there. That's probably the 5th one I've had in this area. They just don't do good right here, so it won't go back. I don't know what I'll put there, but this area is because I guess it's under this crepe myrtle. The soil right here is very dry because a crepe myrtle has a massive root system, and they take up all of the moisture. So I'm constantly having to water this bed right here because of that crepe myrtle. That one as well, it's not as bad. For some reason, the plants I've got under there do better, but the ones over here, they struggle in this whole area. And this little lime right here and that one right there, those two I've had to replace a couple of times, and I'm guessing they're closer to the trunk of this crepe myrtle. They made it through this summer, so we'll see about next summer. If these two die back, I probably won't replace them because I can't keep replacing hydrangeas in the same spot. those three over there do pretty good. They I haven't had to replace those. I'm thinking it's just because they're so close to the root system. You know, they're not getting enough moisture. And this is where I had my Atlas Blue Cedar, right there in that spot, and it was really sad. I actually didn't even know it was dying. I went in there to fertilize, and when I reached down there to put some fertilizer pellets down there, I could tell that something didn't look right, so I moved it, and the whole tree was wobbling in the ground, and I could see that the root ball had gotten really super small. So I went ahead and pulled it out, and yeah, it had lost most of its root system. It just like dried up. I don't know if I didn't water it enough or what the problem was, and it was still solid green. The whole plant was still green. So I pulled it out and I stuck it out there in my raised garden area, and then within days the whole top half turned brown and the needles all fell off. This is a new Pugster Amethyst butterfly bush. I had to pull the other one out of the ground, and I bought this new one to replace it. It did the same thing that my Atlas Blue Cedar was doing. It was wobbling in the ground, so I checked it and pulled it out of the ground, and half the roots were gone. I don't know if it just wasn't getting enough moisture, if I wasn't watering it enough, because the ground was dry, so I know it wasn't root rot. This one was doing the same thing, so it was not quite as bad. So what I did was brought in some new soil and just kind of put it around it, and it's actually putting on some more fresh leaves. These look good and healthy, but this whole half, this side, kind of dead. So I don't know if I'll leave that one. Next spring I'll see how it looks. If it's not looking good, I'll buy another one and replace it. But everything out here is looking pretty good for this time of the year. I've got a bunch of seeds started themselves out here along the driveway. I just left them. I thought that was kind of whimsical. Well, guys, that ends out my growing season for 2024. I'm honestly not ready for this freeze because I am obsessed with gardening. I am obsessed to the point where it is annoying to some people. But a lot of this stuff's going to go. It's going to be gone in the morning. Look at this gorgeous hibiscus. It's just amazing. There's a tropical, don't remember, Hawaiian sunset or something like that. But it will be gone in the morning. Well, it's not gonna be gone. It's gonna still be there, but it's just not gonna look good at all. All right, guys. Thanks for following me through my final 2024 walkthrough, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the year. Thank you.